Here's my thing. Obviously, all we're going to hear is the fear-mongering from the other side. Everything from the past 8 years when he first came in, it was, we're going to go to war with Korea. He was a Russian asset. We're going to go to war. Everything is fear-mongering. Piers, the guy hasn't been in for 3 months. Everybody needs to just relax. Just like Gordon said, let it take time.
In this video, Vinny Oshana, co-host of the PBD Podcast, and Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, joined the panel on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Cenk Uygur argues that Donald Trump's tariffs will destroy the United States, and Vinny Oshana strongly disagrees. With that, let's watch Vinny Oshana destroy Cenk Uygur's fear-mongering and Trump-deranged take about tariffs.
Are in complete, raging fury about him, and at the same time, in places like Florida, he can do no wrong. But I saw a poll on CNN this morning, which has actually been, the polling they've been doing on him has been quite positive until now. But the polling on do Americans trust Trump on the economy, and do they blame him or Biden for the state of the economy right now? They've never been worse for Trump. So now the American people have moved from blaming Biden to now blaming Trump, and his own approval rating on the economy is plummeting pretty rapidly. Now, I know Trump well, as you do, and he won't like that. He won't like the fact that his economic polling is plummeting. So this has to work quite quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, Piers, I think, well, first of all, just him walking into the UFC, like you said, we're going to get into. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, I saw Michael Jackson when I was a kid, and it was at that level. But we'll get into that. But Piers, here's my thing. Obviously, all we're going to hear is the fear-mongering from the other side. Everything from the past 8 years when he first came in, it was, we're going to go to war with Korea. He was a Russian asset. We're going to go to war. Everything is fear-mongering. Piers, the guy hasn't been in for 3 months. Everybody needs to just relax. Just like Gordon said, let it take time. And I have an analogy, Piers. Our country, like, when a heroin addict, when they finally stop doing the heroin and they put them in a room, they're detoxing, they're shaking, they're sweating, they're going through a bunch of, bodies are convulsing. That's what America's going through, Piers. We've been hooked on this freaking government, everybody walking all over us, every country taking advantage of us. It's going to hurt for a little while, Piers, but guess what? The tariffs are going to work. Stock market jumped 400 points today. Everybody needs to chill. And then, Piers, by the way, how many factories are reopening? Steel jobs are coming back to America. Japan pledged $1 trillion to come here. The UAE committed $1.4 trillion in 10 years.
It's disappointing to see that Trump's approval on the economy is decreasing. I think the reason for that is just the uncertainty that the tariffs have caused. But also, and this isn't a slight on anyone, but I think the average America doesn't have time to dig into the tariffs, the strategy, the reasons that Trump is doing it, and they just don't understand. Most Americans right now are very short-sighted, understandably. I mean, a lot of Americans are paycheck to paycheck, but if we stay the course and we don't fold to China, I genuinely believe that this move by Trump with our economy will be one of the most important and best plays in history for the United States economy to be prosperous for years and years to come. So I'm sure everyone's heard it 1,000 times now, but we're going to have to experience some short-term pain or frustration to experience long-term prosperity. But the media is painting it like our economy's in shambles, which it's not because of all this, but they never show the other side. The factory owners and factory workers in China have nothing to do right now because all their goods aren't going out the door, and they've got storage containers just piled up at their ports of stuff that they can't move. The people of China are going to continue to put pressure on the government to fix this. And I can't remember the number. I think it's 300 billion in exports they send to the United States. I apologize if the number's wrong, but they send a lot of exports to the United States. They can't go forever without that revenue from the United States. While the situation that we find ourselves in is the fault of multiple administrations over decades because no one's addressed the trade imbalance, everyone could be happy right now if China would just come to the negotiating table. China is the one that is being hard-headed. They've been able to take advantage of unfair practices with the United States, again, for decades, and that's just not sustainable for us. It's not fair to the United States. So Donald Trump's doing the right thing. People just need to have faith that Donald Trump's doing what he thinks is in the best interest of the country, and people need to be patient. I'll just speak for myself as an average American that does not have a lot of money. I'm willing to grin and bear it, because I can see the long-term benefits if this thing plays out the way it should. So I wish more people just understood what was going on. And I think if they did, they'd support the president. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Years, Saudi Arabia just lined up $600 billion, possibly hitting $1 trillion. It's not small talk, it's respect. And Cenk said it's not the art of the deal. This is exactly what it is. He knows how to play this freaking game. Now he doesn't have all the Russia and all the crazy shit happening around him. Just give him some time. Let him cook. Everything's gonna be okay. You'll see. Trust me.
All right, Cenk, trust Vinny.
Cheers. Yeah, no, I definitely don't. No offense, Vinny. So listen, what would have garnered trust is if he had done this in a rational way and said, here's the industries I'm protecting. Here's the countries I'm targeting. And I'm going reciprocal. If China's got 20%, we're going to put 20% on them and it's non-negotiable, right? Or we're going to negotiate it down to 0 so that we're got it fair for both sides. But to do 145%, I mean, you might as well do 1,000,000%. It doesn't make any sense. At that price, you can't sell any goods. So he's not thinking this through. He's doing this in a crazy way. And you guys are saying, hey, let's see how it plays out. It's only 3 months in. I get it, and that's fair. And there's a long way to go with 4 years. But what you can't say at the same time is that it's worked so far. It hasn't. It did crash the stock market. It did crash the bond market. And Donald Trump retracted those because he had crashed the markets. That's not part of any plan. That's just a giant screw up, and he got nothing in return. So you can say, hey, maybe he'll get better later, and that's always true, of course, right? But to say that he's cooking now, no, he's cooked, not cooking. And so far, he's done nothing but absolutely bungle it and got nothing in return.
But Cenk, what do you expect in 3 months, brother? It's gonna take time, and it's gonna be ugly.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
Owned our asses, Cenk, for how long? And the only thing I fear, Piers, the last time, because listen, at the end of the day, all these other countries they're gonna bend the knee. China is our actual threat. When people say they're our adversary, no, that's our enemy. Okay, Piers, it's freaking China. And the last time Trump tried to hold them accountable and we had a trade war with China, a virus mysteriously leaked out of a lab that we not only opened, we funded, and the main guy behind the helm that this virus leaked from got a preemptive pardon and his hands were washed and he has no accountability. That's the only actual fear. Trump is the only one that is holding their freaking foot to the fire. And I'm sorry, Pierre. And Josh, you said at the beginning that I disagree when you said that people are hoping for the success. The majority of the people that I know on the left, Josh, hell no. They're like, no, they want it to fail. They want it to burn just so they could say it was Trump. It was Trump. We told you. That's not America, brother. We have the freaking president of the United States.
Yeah, these people on the left are truly sick. I say it all the time, but they would rather see one man, Donald Trump, fail than see the United States prosper in the long term for generations of their families to come. Every American should be rooting for this strategy to succeed. It's just in their best interest. So Cenk said the tariff strategy hasn't worked so far. It crashed the stock market. Do you think the Trump administration wasn't aware of the fact that the uncertainty caused by these tariffs was really going to shake up the stock market? They were prepared to take that consequence because the reward is so large in this case. And then Cenk said, I can understand giving him time, which he's right, we should. But to say it's worked so far, it hasn't. It has worked so far. Remember when everyone was saying, all these other countries aren't going to trade with us? As far as I know, besides China, I don't know that there's a holdout from a single other country. Everyone acknowledged, like, yeah, it is unfair for us to tariff you and you not to tariff us. So let's come to the negotiating table and make a fair deal. That's how it's worked the rest of the world. China's a special problem. We have to get away from our dependence on China for essential goods. It's just insane that our biggest adversary on the planet produces so many essential goods. I mean, what if there is a major conflict with China or a Chinese ally and they decide they're not going to send us the things we need to build what we need to protect our country. That's going to be a problem. So this needs to be addressed now. People need to be patient. This is going to work. Let's wrap up the video.
He's the leader of the freaking free world. We have to back the guy. I'm not saying blindly back whatever the hell that he's doing. Cenk, I have some stuff that me and you agree on that he's doing that I don't agree with. But when it comes to this, bro, when it comes to China, that is the actual threat. They freaking, mind you, the past 4 years, they got away with everything. They were flying spy balloons, Piers. Nobody said shit, all right? They buy land at all of our military bases, nuclear missile bases in Malmstrom, Montana. Nobody says anything. They do whatever they want. And then when she comes to San Francisco, Newsom cleans the street, kisses his ass. It looked like freaking Beijing, all right? We finally got a guy that's holding their foot to the fire. Like I said, it's going to hurt. It's going to be a little turbulent. But, bro, the guy knows what he's doing. He's a freaking boss, and he's a businessman. He's going to be fine.
All right,
Yes, he will,
see,
Cenk.
Josh,
Yes,
the
he will.
interesting thing
Bro.
about this, hang on, the interesting thing, Josh, it seems to me about this particular crisis is it's entirely self-inflicted, quite deliberately.
Yeah, and another way, again, to refute Cenk's point about the notion that his tariff strategy hasn't worked thus far, Vinny just listed them. We've got multiple countries willing to invest a lot of money in manufacturing in our country. So that will create jobs. It will wean us off of our dependence on China for certain products. And then everyone says, well, in like 5 to 10 years, it'll be all automated, so it won't create jobs. It doesn't matter. We still need to be making essential goods here. But we want to hear from you. What do you all think about Donald Trump's tariffs? What did you think about this debate between Vinny Oshana and Cenk Uygur? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you on the next one.